We know it's been out for a while now, but we finally have the AYN Odin Pro for sale. The first store apart from AYN to do so. So let's check out what all the fuss was about for this Android retro gaming handheld. First, we have the AYN Odin Pro handheld itself. We will take a closer look at it shortly. Underneath is a user manual in English and Chinese. It's got everything you need to get up and running. And last but not least, there is a USB Type-C charge cable. And where can you buy this handheld and others like it? From us at DroiX, that's where. We stock all the best retro gaming handhelds from AYN to Anbernic and Retroid to Miu. Visit us at droix.co.uk or droix.net for international shipping. The AYN Odin Pro is available in 3 colours: black, cold grey and clear white. It measures around 8.8 by 3.7 by 0.5 inches and weighs around 365 grams. The display is a 5.98 inch IPS touchscreen with a 1080 by 1920 resolution. The maximum brightness and colours are very good compared to the other Android handhelds. On the sides of the screen there are dual analog controllers, D-pad and the usual gaming buttons. There is also a home button just above the gaming buttons. Around the analogues and sides of the handheld are LED lights which can be customised in the settings. Along the top we have left and right shoulder and trigger buttons which feel very responsive. Under the protective cap are micro HDMI for TV or monitor output and a micro SD card slot. There is a volume rocker and a power button to the right side. On the bottom is a USB Type-C 3.1 port where you can charge the device. And on the back are 2 macro buttons which can be configured. The Odin Pro comes with the standard Android 10 apps you would expect to find on a clean install. You will need to install any apps such as games and emulators yourself. Google Play Store is available, so you can download the majority from there or use Chrome to download from other sources. The pull down menu has some options for the handheld's operation. From here you can choose between 3 performance settings: standard, performance and high performance. There are also 2 fan speed settings, sport and smart. You can also take screenshots and hide the overlay graphic. The overlay software is pretty good. There's a slider to change the brightness, enable and disable screen mapping and notifications and shortcuts to other tasks. The screen mapping software is similar to the Anbernic and Retroid handhelds. You drag the icons representing the game controls to areas on the screen and map them to a button. It is all very easy to do and we did not run into any issues with the games we tried. Video output via micro HDMI is also supported. It supports up to 1080p resolution, which is very good as some of the other handhelds only supported 480 and 720p. The Odin Pro features the Qualcomm Snapdragon SD845 with Kryo Quad Gold and Kryo Quad Silver cores. The graphics are powered by the Adreno 630 GPU, which we will check out later in some benchmarks. There's 8GB of LPDDR4x RAM and a choice of 128 or 256GB of internal storage. You can of course add more via the micro SD card slot. It has Wi-Fi 5 for internet connectivity and Bluetooth 5 to connect wireless peripherals too. It features a 6600 mAh rechargeable battery. We ran the Antutu benchmark on a loop with the highest performance settings and the battery lasted around 7 hours. Sitting idle on high performance settings with the screen on full brightness got us a massive 15 hours. We tested the fan noise and temperatures also whilst running the Antutu benchmark. We got the highest fan noise of 52 decibels and highest temperature of just 40 degrees centigrade. It is very quiet and runs very cool. We are running 3D Mark, Geekbench and Antutu on our system benchmarks. We will be comparing with other Android based handhelds, but please note their benchmarks are older and there may be some minor differences in compared performance. First up is Geekbench, which runs a series of tests on the CPU in single and multi-core performance. The higher performing GPD-XP Plus keeps its first place position, though good luck in finding one to buy now. The Odin Pro has a very comfortable lead in second place over the 3 Tiger T1618 based processors found on the Pocket Flip and 3 Plus and RG505 handhelds. Next is Antutu, which is a mix of CPU and GPU performance. Unsurprisingly, the GBD XP Plus keeps first place. The Odin Pro takes second, and 3 Tiger based handhelds make up third place downwards. And our final benchmark is with 3D Mark and the Slingshot benchmark. The XP Plus takes first place. In our test, it maxes out and no score is given, so we've put 8000 for the sake of it. And again, in second place is the Odin Pro, followed by the usual suspects. The higher performing GBD XP Plus was always going to win this battle, but getting hold of one is hard and they are more expensive. The Odin Pro remained in second place, well above the Tiger T618 handhelds, which is good to see. You are looking at an average of 55% performance difference over the T1618 handhelds, which goes as high as 99% difference on 3D Mark. For these emulator performance tests, we are running on the high performance setting with the fan on smart mode. For pretty much everything up to Dreamcast and PlayStation 1 era, you should have no issues at all with the emulator performance on normal performance settings. We set up RetroArch and tried a few 8 and 16-bit consoles and they all run perfectly. Let's take a brief look at some of the more demanding systems. We tried a few Dreamcast games and had a solid 60 frames per second on everything we tried. There were no issues at all with the performance, everything ran great. Like the Dreamcast, everything runs at a solid 60 FPS on the PS1. You can, if you wanted to, increase the graphics settings resolution scale up to 1080p to make the graphics look far nicer than the original low resolution. Overall, the Dolphin emulator performance is very good. For many games we had it running at 4 frames per second, but we did also see quite a few 60 FPS games dropping to as low as 40 frames per second now and again. You will have mixed success with the PlayStation 2 emulation. For the more demanding games you can lower the rendering resolution and see if that works. You will find that many will not run at full speed though. For less demanding games you can quite happily run them at full speed and native resolutions. PSP emulation overall works excellent. You should not have any issues with the vast majority of games. Depending on how demanding the game is, you can increase the upscaling for improved rendering and keep a solid 60 frames per second. The performance for the Citra emulator will massively depend on the game you're playing. Shader caching will slow down the performance and often cause lags in games. Performance does improve when the shaders are cached, but you will still get some occasional lags and slowdowns. For less demanding games, you will find a more enjoyable experience with faster performance. The PlayStation Vita emulator also has mixed performance and will depend on the game you are playing. Lower demanding games are very playable, and providing they are compatible with the emulator, you will have few issues. The more demanding games, however, will run very slow. The AYN Odin Pro really surprised me on how solid everything felt. The build and quality of the handheld itself is excellent, and definitely feels more premium than say the Anbernic handhelds. The operating system coming with a clean install is both good and bad. I like the clean install as I can install what apps I want without having the junk. Others may want everything set up ready to go for ease of use or time saving, for example. The overlay software works great and I had no issues setting up the screen mapping with games I tested. There's plenty of settings specific to the handheld to tinker with, and having HDMI output means you can also enjoy games on a larger display. I found it hard to dislike anything with the Odin Pro. Everything works exactly as it should. With it only supporting Android 10, it means you wouldn't be able to officially run Yuzu, but the games would not run that well anyway. All in all, it's a really solid handheld with great performance, miles in front of the Tiger T618 based handhelds. You can learn more and order your AYN Odin Pro from us at DroiX.co.uk and DroiX.net for international shipping. Use the discount code AYN50FF for a 5% discount. Please note, the code may expire after 1 month and it cannot be used during store sales or promotions. What do you think of the Odin Pro? Let us know in the comments, and whilst you're there, please take a moment to subscribe so you won't miss out on our future videos. We hope to see you back in the next one.